Alright guys, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my new video. We are going to be going over 5 tips that I think you can start working on to help improve in the preseason. If you are looking to get that gold mark, you're looking to get that platinum mark, you're looking to get diamond next season, or master, or grandmaster, or challenger, I would love to help you out. I specialize here with low elo players, and if you're new to my channel, my name is LowFit. I do educational content, I test videos, guide videos, and I also stream here on YouTube. If you'd like to hit that notification button to be notified when I go live for a stream, and if you want to ask me live questions, that would be a great place, or you can hit me up in Discord, which will be pinned in the comments down below. And I'm going to start rolling out some personalized coaching stuff. I'm going to do maybe a story about it later or something, where anyone that joins down below with that big ass join button, I'm going to kind of take a personal interest in their climbing, and I am going to help them out monthly with just kind of how I think that they can improve. So with that out of the way, let's get into tip number 1. Alright, and getting into the first tip, we got to find out what are the issues that we are currently having with our play. Now, how I want you guys to look at this is you can find this section by going to profile and then stats, and then you can pick one of your favorite champions, and you can kind of start identifying where you are struggling a little bit. And it is really important to find the rank that you are playing with, because you want to compare yourself to other players in your elo. You don't want to try and compare yourself to challenger players and say, oh, I have a better KDA than challenger players, I should be a challenger. No, that means that they have that KDA playing against those challenger players. You have the KDA of that is obtained playing against people in your elo. So really be careful with comparing yourself to other ranks. Maybe you can go up 1 and down 1, but stay within kind of your range of your elo and start identifying what you are doing incorrectly in your play. This graph I think can help out people quite a bit, because it can show you different KDAs that you are obtaining. What I'm reading from my KDA graph is that I am an extremely inconsistent player when I do Urgot. I'm either popping off with an insanely high KDA, kind of below average with the 1.82, or this, wow, this is 0.80 game, Jesus Christ, and then have some games in the middle. But this really shows me that I need to work on being a bit more consistent with my play. I am pretty solid on my kill participation, so I'm roaming at a decent clip. I have a really good utility score, so that means that I'm doing pretty well with crowd control and just healing and stuff like that. And then I'm pretty much dead on average for the diamond Urgot players of this season, where I'm doing just as much damage, 1 point less on average than the player, and then I'm carrying a little bit of my extra damage share. But if you are below the averages players of your elos, these are the things that you can start looking at, as well as just checking out different things. You can check out like your income, how much gold you're getting, early advantage, average player, I am 526 and the average player is negative 397, or your CS. There are a bunch of different things that you can look to do to figure out what you're doing. I really need to work on my vision score. My income is pretty good. I'm pretty solid on CS compared to the average person in my elo, and my CS advantage early is really strong, and I have about an average combat score. So the way that I would really look to improve is to just get a shitload more warding out, because diamond players don't really ward that much, and I am below that average, so I am struggling quite a bit in these different sections. So I encourage you to look over these stats of your favorite champions and kind of identify the weaker parts of your play and identify the stronger parts, and try and bring out as much of the stronger parts as possible, and try and minimize the weaknesses as much as possible. If you have any questions about this tip, you can hit me up in the comments down below. And now we're up with tip number 1. Okay, and for tip number 2, let's get into something that I think is extremely important, but a lot of people don't identify, and it's something that I am personally working a lot on this preseason, and that is to play the roles that you have very little knowledge in, so you can learn more about the game in a holistic sense, where you are able to understand, hey, this is what top laners are supposed to be doing, hey, this is what mid laners are supposed to be doing, this is what support players are trying to do, this is what jungler players are trying to do. The number one thing I really need to work on, as you can see here, this is my kind of my tryhard account, and I did very little. I just played kind of the 3 roles that I was really comfortable in, and I just completely avoided these are just a couple of auto-filled games where I somehow won 100%, but where I didn't have a single game of jungle played in my ranked season. So that's what I'm going to be working on this preseason, is trying to learn kind of the mindset of the jungler, and this will really help you in pretty much any other lane, because you're understanding, hey, the junglers might be ganking. You're going to start learning jungle pathing, you're going to start learning jungle gank times, and you're going to start learning a couple of different things. Another thing that I heavily encourage you, if you're a support main, try playing the ADC lane out quite a bit and start understanding what are effective strategies against those ADC players and how ADC players look to play out the map in general, and this will just give you a great amount of knowledge. So I heavily encourage you, if you're like a one-trick player, maybe just in the top lane, you might want to look into something like the jungle, because they have a large effect on your role. Or if you have a just mid can affect anything, jungle can affect everything, just become a more well-balanced player. You don't want to just have this extremely just narrow view of the game, and this will be a great way to just increase your overall ability to grow and evolve as a player. And that will wrap up tip number 2. Alright, and for tip number 3, let's talk about something that a lot of people I think struggle with quite a bit, and that is your overall champion pool and how you want to fine tune it over this preseason. You do not want to limit yourself by only playing these same things over and over and over again. If you can expand your champion pool even by one champion, that might be something that's great, a great counter pick into range tops. Just that's kind of a pocket pick that you have and you feel comfortable with pulling out whenever you can. Or maybe you just need to develop a safe blind pick. Maybe you play something like a Zed, or like a really polarizing pick in the mid lane where they have a lot of counters. Or maybe you're playing like immobile mages all the time, but you don't really have a safe blind pick to play into assassins. So this is where the preseason can be great, because it has very little effect on the next season coming up. All it's going to do is you're just going to have like a little MMR kind of thing to it, but it is going to be so much more important for you to understand that you should develop your champion pool as extensively as possible to fit you, not just what the current meta is, for what works for you. Now, if you can see, these are kind of my stats for last season, where I was able to do pretty well on certain champions, and I kind of tried out some other ones in different situations and struggled quite a bit. So one I want to go over in particular is one of my good friends on the channel, NDN Takeover. He played a lot of Nocturne top, and I think he just came into one of my custom games and he just was blowing out everyone playing that champion, and I started to adapt that. I was like, wow, that seems like it'd be a really good pick into a lot of particular champions in the top lane. I really want to pick it up. So I started picking up, playing it, adding that champion to my champion pool, and just bringing it out when I know I can do extremely well with it. And that little expansion onto my champion pool is an extremely great addition to when I know that I want to kind of throw a little bit of cheese at the enemy opponents and throw a little bit of something that's going to be unexpected and put a lot of pressure on immobile backliners. So always look to be expanding your champion pool in different ways. And then I also play Graves in the top lane because I hate jungle. And then I've tried to adapt Gnar, and was a really bad idea. So kind of look at your past season and see what was really successful for you. What did you do that was really good? What did you do that just tanked your MMR and just stole a bunch of LP from you? For example, what was a big one that stole a bunch of LP? Playing Urgot. The reason why I played a lot of Urgot is because the first time I got Diamond, I was just spamming Urgot, but he was just in a bad spot in this past season where I wasn't able to capitalize on him as much as I used to. So, my base recommendation for people that are pretty much from iron to gold, maybe iron to platinum, you just want to have about 3 solid champions. One that's a really safe blind pick, and then 2 of your champions that you just feel extremely comfortable on and have extremely extensive game knowledge on. And then kind of work out from there. Maybe add 1 here, maybe take away 1 there. Be like, oh, why am I playing Vel'Koz when I could be playing Lux? What are the benefits of me playing Lux over Vel'Koz? They're both long-range control mages. Do I really need to favor one in different scenarios than others, or should I be just adapting this one and focusing on getting really, really strong at this one? So just get curious about your champion pool. What are the best champions, and just really take full advantage of this preseason by picking up new champions that might really serve you quite well in the season to come. And that will wrap up this tip. Alright, and getting into tip number 4, I want to talk about something that I think is really important, and is actually a concept around pretty much any sport you pick up and play. You're only going to get better by playing better opponents than yourself. You're going to learn a lot more from your losses usually than you are when you're just snowballing and you're just destroying the enemy team and winning. So in this preseason, try to play against the best opposition as possible. If you have a friend that is willing to do one-on-one or 1v1 custom lanes and they're higher elo than you and they're a bit better than you, bother them. Try and be like, frick man, let's just can you just play a one-on-one against me? I really struggle against Zed. I just want to just kind of play a bunch of Zed lanes over and over again. And this might really help you because you're going to start seeing plays on a higher level, and it is always the best place to learn. Yeah, I know sometimes rank solo and duo can be a bit of a grind. Maybe you want to do ARM or try out the new stuff with Legend of the Portal King or do some team fight tactics. But if you want to just focus solely on getting better at League of Legends, try to find the best opposition, whether it's 1v1s with the friends list over that way, yes, this way, and or just playing rank solo duo over and over again, and trying to really adopt the strategies that work well against you and that our people are using to beat people in your elo, and then trying to just see how they play out when you are doing it. That's a great example would be kind of on a micro sense would be, hey, I struggle against Darius all the time. Whenever someone tells me they struggle against a particular champion, I tell them to play that in rank solo duo themselves, because they're going to learn how to beat the enemy, or how to beat that champion, because people are going to show you the strategies they have found to beat that Darius, to beat that Gangplank, to beat that Zed, to beat that Draven. And then if you win the game and people don't show you how to beat the champion, just keep playing that champion until you climb enough where you're able to see, okay, wow, that guy really just kicked the shit out of me. He just played really safe in the lane phase, and then he was able to out team fight me extremely well. So keep this in mind when you are looking to just improve in League of Legends. And I'll wrap up this tip. Alright, one of the most common mistakes that I see, and why I wanted to go over this in tip number 5, is people always build the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting different results, and I really frown upon that. I think you should get so much more out of it when you build based on game state. So get curious with how you're building your champion in certain scenarios. Are they very AP heavy? This is something you should be looking at. Are they very AD heavy? Are they very burst heavy? Are they very consistent damage heavy? Are they very cooldown reliant? Would something like a Zhonya's that will deny a big impact spell be really good in the team fight? Will something like a Veil of Night or Edge of Night would be really effective, or at Banshees against a lot of hooks that are coming out from the enemy team? So always look to adapt your build and get curious about why you're building the same things over and over again. Check out pro builds, check out how other people are playing out the champion, and see if there's any kind of strategies that you can look to adopt. Are there super aggressive builds that I can go when I do extremely well? Sometimes people just fall back on that, oh, I'm just going to do the same build over and over again. Even if I'm doing extremely well, I'm going to go this semi-defensive build. It might not be the best path for you. You might want to look into some more aggressive item build sets, or hey, maybe I'm building too aggressive all the time, trying to go 100% in the paint every single time, even if I'm getting my ass kicked and the items are too expensive and I'm never able to scale up to the place that the enemy champions are. So maybe you want to go a little bit more of a defensive, passive build and try and just be more of a utility-based champion for your team. So that will be my final tip for preseason and all the new item additions. Try to, as your best as possible, to just get curious about why you're building certain builds, and try and find kind of niche builds for particular enemy comps that can really just pay off dividends if you are looking to just commit to getting better. This is going to be an extremely important tip. That will wrap up my video, guys. If you have any questions, you can hit me up in the comments down below or join the Discord. And as always, guys, take it easy.